Okay, so this is a week with some pretty weird and off-the-wall episodes, and yeah, this is probably the weirdest thumbnail that I've actually ever made. Now, on this episode, I'm going to be showing you something terribly awful, but pretty interesting in that you can actually pull this off. That being said, like a previous episode that I'll mention here in a bit, do not actually do this, unless for whatever reason, your playgroup or those that you're playing with are 100% okay with this. And if they are, wow, just wow. I don't know who in the world would be okay with this, but wow. Because on this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to tear your opponent's cards. Literally, physically tear them. And of course, with this concept, well, you can blame Eddie, but also you should probably blame, well, me and my entire playgroup because, well, I mean, I kind of bounced this idea off of them. So yeah, blame Eddie, blame Alec, blame Eric. Yeah, and they helped ensure that these are actually all legal Magic moves, with the goal of literally tearing your opponent's cards up. Again, legal Magic moves to tear your opponent's cards up. Well, okay, with one prerequisite, and for that, we've got a little history lesson. So, back in December of 2017, right when Unstable was coming out, another unset, the Commander's Rules Committee declared that all silver-bordered cards are legal in Commander until the next ban list update, which was January 15th. So that was basically a month and a half of silver border legality. And at the time, that included Unstable, Unhinged, Unglued, and even holiday-themed cards. Now, with this came some initial bannings for some silver-bordered cards. And those cards were Astronaut's Coupon, Double Cross, Double Deal, Double Dip, Double Play, Double Take, Enter the Dungeon, Magical Hacker, Mox Lotus, Once More with Feeling, R&D's Secret Lair, Richard Garfield, Staying Power, Time Machine. And on top of that, they did also mention that the following cards come with a caution to judge against your playgroup's playstyles. And those cards are Akon's Run, Collector Protector, Incoming Infernal Spawn of Evil, Johnny Combo Player, Mirror, Topsy Turvy, and yet another Aether Vortex. Now, I will mention that, yes, of course, silver border cards are not currently legal because, yeah, it's not, between December 1st, 2017 and January 15th, 2018. It's, not anywhere near there now. That being said, with a new unset coming out again this October, and with Wizards really trying to push this unset, you never know what kind of a decision the Rules Committee might make. But actually, during that time period where silver border cards were illegal, well, except for the ones that they mentioned, and they didn't mention certain ones, a play like this one that I'm about to mention is actually a legal play. So yeah, I mean, if they actually say silver border cards are now legal again for, a month and a half, uh-oh. And of course, even if that doesn't happen, yeah, Commander is a social format, so, just talk and ask, and certain playgroups are okay with certain silver border cards being played. That being said, I highly doubt they're going to be okay with this kind of a play against them, but again, let's just assume, because again, the Rules Committee never mentioned either of the cards that I'm going to bring up on silver border cards that should be banned or even should be cautioned against. Now, one last thing. Yeah, okay, this again has been a pretty weird week because, yeah, in my previous episode, I talked about how to literally ruin your opponent's cards by infinitely stickering them, though you probably shouldn't be able to actually put stickers on your opponent's cards. You can with this really weird combo. But yeah, if you haven't seen the episode, make sure you check it out at some point. Regardless, just know that also with part of that combo, I will talk about on this episode as well, or at least the resolution of part of a combo too. Okay? Though you really don't need to know how exactly that works. You just need to know the actual resolution. We'll get to it here in a bit. Okay, here we go. So this combo involves one of two silver border cards that, again, were not even mentioned in, the banned, list, essentially, for those silver border cards at the time, or even cautioned against. And the first one is Blacker Lotus, which obviously is a callback to Black Lotus, but yeah, this one is quite spicy. It's an artifact for 0 that says, tap, Tear Blacker Lotus into pieces. Add 4 mana of any one color. Remove the pieces from the game. So again, like a Black Lotus, but you permanently get rid of the card to get an additional mana, because again, Black Lotus gives you 3, this gives you 4, but you have to tear up the card to actually get that effect. Regardless, this is one of only 2 cards in Magic, again with them being silver bordered, that actually mention tearing up a card. And the other one is a callback to Chaos Orb with Chaos Confetti. It's an artifact for 4 that has pay 4 and tap it. Tear Chaos Confetti into pieces. Throw the pieces onto the battlefield from a distance of at least 5 feet. Destroy each permanent that a piece touches. Remove the pieces from the game. So unlike Blacker Lotus, again, you can tear that card into as many pieces as you want, and then you just get to, step away from the table at least 5 feet, and then just chuck it. Just chuck all those pieces onto the table and destroy everything that those pieces touch. Very funny, but again, it's a one-off card. Or is it? Because again, by our opponents allowing us to utilize one of these 2 cards, we are then going to utilize that card with Merasil the Pretender. Merasil is a 4/4 human wizard that has, when it enters the battlefield, you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand or graveyard and put a cage counter on it. Merasil has all activated abilities of all cards you own in exile with cage counters on them. You may activate each of those abilities only once each turn. So with this combo, we need either Blacker Lotus or Chaos Confetti, either in our hand or in our graveyard. We then obviously just get Merasil in play, we exile that card, we put a cage counter on it, and now, let's just again say, Chaos Confetti. Okay, that's the one, alright? That's exile with a cage counter on it, and Merasil the Pretender now has pay 4, tap, tear Merasil the Pretender into pieces. Because again, when something gains an ability, it's actually just referencing, the actual card. So Chaos Confetti is, tap, tear Chaos Confetti into pieces because that's the name of the card. But now with, this gaining that ability, it's tap, tear Merasil the Pretender into pieces. So pay 4, tap, tear this card into pieces, and then again, throw those pieces on the battlefield from a distance of 5 feet, destroy everything that they touch, remove them from the game. Yeah. Now we can tear a card other than Chaos Confetti or again Blacker Lotus, and yeah, there's a lot of potential with this. Now again, the goal of this very awful, terrible combo is not to tear our own cards, but to tear our opponent's cards. And how we do that at a base level is actually quite simple. And actually, I'll just stop right there and say that yes, Merasil the Pretender could be a commander for this, potentially, in some kind of a way. There are ways to do it, probably. But like my previous episode, the commander that I'd probably recommend for this one is a 5-color commander, like Kenrith. And yeah, you could easily set this combo up and do it, assuming that you have infinite mana, which of course is very easy to generate in a lot of different ways. So with this combo, I'm going to be going about it assuming that we have infinite mana of all colors. Again, with Kenny in play, and again, with Kenny, you can draw your entire library and then just cast whatever you want. So this combo is incredibly easy to set up and actually do. So again, after we, say, draw our library, get Merasil in play, and get a cage counter on Chaos Confetti by exiling it from our hand, what next? Well, then we're either going to cast something like Insurrection, or again, just assuming we've got infinite mana, play Captivating Crew and activate it an infinite amount of times, or again, as many times as we need to gain control of our opponent's creatures. Because yeah, Insurrection just is going to gain control of all creatures, and Captivating Crew has pay 3 in a red, gain control of target creature and put controls until end of turn. So basically, we just want to gain control of all of our opponent's creatures. And once we've done that, well, then our next step is pretty simple. Because then we cast Echoing Equation, which says, choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of it until end of turn, except those creatures aren't legendary if the chosen creature is legendary. So then every single one of our creatures that we now control, which includes our opponent's creatures that we just stole with, again, either Insurrection or Captivating Crew, etc., 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 is now a copy of Merasil the Pretender, but they're not legendary, so we can keep them all around. And of course, again, with each of them being Merasil, all of them have all activated abilities of all cards we own in exile with cage counters on them, which of course would include Chaos Confetti. So again, then, with our infinite mana, we just pay 4 for every single one of those unlucky creatures that are now a copy of Merasil, and we tap and we tear them into pieces in front of our opponent's faces. And then we step away from the table and we chuck them at the table. We chuck them at our opponents. The card that we tore up, that is that opponent's, we took it, we tore it, and we chucked it at them. And that is literally the meanest play of all time. And again, like I've said before, do not do this. Unless, for whatever reason, those that you're playing against are completely fine with, first, you playing with silver border cards, and second, you doing this incredibly mean and terrible, awful thing. And even then, even if your opponents are, for whatever reason, okay with this, I mean, you're kind of just wasting magic cards at that point, so maybe instead of actually just tearing it, even though, again, it's completely legal magic play within the context of all these rules, maybe just instead donate that card to someone else instead of actually just tearing it up because, yeah, it's just a waste at that point. Now, ironically, as expensive as that might be for your opponents for you to actually take their cards and tear them up, again, you're not actually tearing any of your own cards because, well, you don't have to. Chaos Confetti somehow gets to survive this, which is great, and so does your Marisol. Regardless, the total cost of your cards in this combo, again, outside of the infinite mana stuff and whatnot, is $2.30. Echo Equation, Captivating Crew, Marisol, and Chaos Confetti. Just $2.30 to do this incredibly awful thing. Now, obviously, if you were to utilize Insurrection or Blacker Lotus, that would get, more expensive, but still, with, a base version of this combo, gross. So again, just think about taking your opponent's $65 Dockside Extortionist and tearing it into as many pieces as you want. I know the thumbnail, showed, it in half. But yeah, you could literally eviscerate this by tearing it into as many pieces as you want, again, with that Chaos Confetti effect. Or how about Blightsteel Colossus, which is $62? Or, Emrakul. Okay, the legal Emrakul in Commander, which is, $61. And of course, the list can go on and on and on. I mean, someone's commander is going to be really expensive, like an Dragon. That thing's like $70 or something like this point. Metalworker, a very old card on the reserve list, also incredibly expensive. Or, Sliver Queen. If someone's got the commander, Sliver Queen, that thing's like $300 or something like that. Yeah, again, please don't actually do this. I'm just trying to show through the Magic rules. If players agree to play the silver border card, what kind of a disgusting thing you could potentially do within the context of those rules. So we shall see if the rules committee actually, makes silver border cards legal again at one point. They might, they very much might, because again, Wizards is trying to push this unset coming out. And they've done it in the past, so they might do it again. That being said, even if they do that, do not do this play. I don't know how many times I can say that on this episode. Do not do this. Now, that being said, this play isn't even the worst thing that you can do. Because again, with this play, you technically are only really tearing up creatures that are already in play, which is already incredibly awful, but you can actually just tear up your opponent's entire libraries too. And actually, that involves essentially the combo that I mentioned in the previous episode. So yeah, make sure you watch that episode for the exact, how you go about through that entire combo. Because, ironically, you could infinitely sticker your opponent's, cards, with this new Kenrith kind of concept deck thing. And then after you do all that, you could then gain control of your opponent's cards and then tear them up with this different kind of awful Chaos Confetti concept as well. So in that episode, again, I can just tell you again, the result of one of the things that you can essentially infinitely manifest your opponent's libraries into actual creatures. And again, by doing so then, by getting every single one of their cards in their deck to become a creature that is, a face down 2/2, you could then, again, Insurrection, all of them, Echoing Equation with Marisol, the Chaos Confetti, and then tear up every single one of their cards. Every single card in all their decks could be torn up with this awful, terrible combo, which again, do not do. Do not do either of these combos. But yeah, if you haven't seen my episode from yesterday, make sure you check that one out at some point. Regardless, yeah, there's a reason that these cards, the kind of, tearing up a card is a silver board effect. Will we ever see tearing up a card in a non-silver board effect? I don't know. Maybe at some point we will. Magic has, had some really weird things come out lately. Like, now we have stickers, which are legal in Eternal formats. So you never know. That being said, again, be on the lookout if, silver board cards ever become legal again, or, the Acorn symbol cards too, I guess. So we shall see. But one last time, please, 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 never attempt to do this. Again, unless for whatever reason, your playgroup is okay with it, and for whatever reason, you want to tear up some cards instead of actually just, donating them to someone else instead of just, ruining cards. Yeah, basically just don't do this, okay? It's just a thought experiment on what the actual meanest play in Magic potentially could be. And yeah, I can think of nothing meaner than literally taking an opponent's, again, at the very end of the day, what you could do with this combo, essentially entire library from them, tearing up every single card in front of them into as many pieces as you want, then stepping, 5 feet away and one at a time, essentially just chucking each of their now torn up cards at them, or again at the board, which then destroys things, which is great. Or, you could just throw short. If you intentionally want to throw short, you could, I guess, right? I mean, I don't think Chaos Confetti specifies you actually have to attempt to hit the board. Regardless, don't do it. And with that, this show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.